Morning, class. I formally welcome you to this lecture. To give back to consumer behavior. I, class lecturer, is Dr. James Ichukwu. First and foremost, I want to actually tell you the procedure we shall follow to accomplish this study. I'll tell you the components of the various tasks that make up the grade we are going to see. We are going to be exposed to continuous assessment, which attracts 30 marks, and then the examination itself, which is 70%. Of course, traditionally, you are supposed to be exposed to outline because the course outline gives you a guide on what you're expected to do, even on your own, so that it can enhance your performance. So as I earlier said, the course code is Marketing 852, Consumer Behavior. And I have been able to break this course into various components. And each component is action-packed. For instance, the first aspect of it is rather addressed as Module 1 and is titled Nature of Consumer Behavior. Nature of Consumer Behavior. Under this, we are going to see, or rather, explain what consumer behavior is all about. We are going to shed light on the reasons why it's relevant for managers, marketers to study consumer behavior. We're equally going to look at organizational buyer behavior, because in as much as individuals also buy, organization or institution equally make purchases. We're going to shed light on it and make a comparison. We're going to compare and contrast consumer behavior, individual consumer behavior, and organizational buyer behavior, so that we can see the difference. Then the second model is part of determining consumer behavior. Factors determining consumer behavior. Actually, consumers' actions give rise to certain factors. Consumers just don't act ordinarily. There must be something that might propel the action that consumers engage in. And we shall be exposed to such factors as cultural factors, social factors, and psychological factors. Then, the third model we shall look at consumer and organizational buyer behavior. In this context, we are going to be exposed to the processes consumers engage before effecting a purchase, as well as how institutions also get into or procure their own needs. We are going to also highlight various buying situations as it affects organization, because there are various situations that attracts organization to make a purchase. They don't just purchase ordinarily or impulsively like individual. Certain things might have caused such a purchase. Then the last in that arrangement is what we titled customer analysis and consumer behavior. Customer analysis and consumer behavior. Under that, we're going to look at consumer behavior and society. We're also going to look at consumer rights and protection laws. As a matter of fact, the buyers and those who make use of the products have their rights, as well as those who exchange it with them. That is, the buyers and sellers have their respective rights. And any infringement attracts some sanction. So we're going to look at all those things and see how they operate. Then we're also going to look at market segmentation. Market segmentation, because when we establish various behavior of individual consumers, we're able to group them based on such peculiarities. And when we do that, we will now look at the segment that is most attractive. Attractive in terms of market share, attractive in terms of profits, and other variables that give a company an edge over its rivals. In each of these mentioned 4 models, we are going to use supportive demonstrations. We're going to use theories, because as a matter of fact, consumer behavior is all about, there are theories guiding all the behavior of the consumers. So we're going to use various theories and models to support consumer behavior. In the same sense, we are going to expose the students are going to be exposed to a number of models, like the Nicosia models, black box models, AKB models, motivational models, and a number of other models. All these models stated are going to be very useful and provide impetus for a clear understanding of consumer behavior. Now, having said all this, we may start by defining consumer behavior. We may not actually go straight in doing that, because we want to debut our understanding by looking at what behavior is all about. Of course, one can describe behavior as an action we take openly or secretly to attend to certain needs or requirements. An action we take openly or secretly to attend to certain needs. Then consumer, by definition, refer to the person who consumes, the ultimate user of the product or service is the consumer. More often than not, people confuse customer with consumers. Yes, to some extent, a customer could be a consumer. That is when he buys and consumes, or when he buys and uses. But we could differentiate them when a customer only buys and possibly resell or use for further production. Having said that, we shall also let the students know that consumer behavior interfaces from a different discipline. And it is these disciplines that further enhances the action of the consumers in the marketplace. We cannot proceed to that without first of all defining consumer. It will be erroneous if we didn't define consumer behavior before looking at those disciplines that interfaces with consumer behavior. Consumer behavior refers to consumers' action in searching, selecting, using, and disposing of products and services. It is that action taken, consumer behavior is that action taken by consumer while searching for products that he wants to use, selecting, using or consuming it, and disposing the product of. All these aspects are very important. So the consumer normally try to have a rethink before making a purchase. And after purchasing the product or the items, you also become conscious to establish whether the product was able to satisfy his needs. And in case the product did not satisfy his needs, you're bound to develop a discomfort. And that discomfort will result in a number of things. It might result to is not patronizing such product again, regretting why he bought the product, regretting even the day and the shop and the seller of that product, and will avoid the product completely. That is dissonance. But whereby after using the product gives satisfaction, he becomes a loyal customer. He will continue to patronize the product and will continue to go for the product at all times because the product has been able to give him the required satisfaction. Now, assuming that a discomfort or dissonance is developed, or assuming that they want to avoid dissonance, we can engage to what we call after-sales services. That after-sales services involve assisting the user of the product on how best to use it, engaging in repairs where the need arises, communicating the user as to find out how he fares with the product he's using, among other reasons. On the other hand, it is recommended that an individual could reduce dissonance in a number of ways. He could assume that the price he paid for the product wasn't too high, so he can forego it. Or he could also associate himself or herself with the peers that uses that product and assume that the product is not all that bad. In all, it is recommended that marketers and managers should try as much as possible to ensure that the product gives the desired satisfaction to avoid dishonor. Now, back to the disciplines. Back to the disciplines that could interface with consumers' behavior. We have been able to look at certain thoughts or disciplines that interfaces with consumer behavior. And on that line, we were able to establish 4 disciplines of thoughts. One is psychological thoughts. Psychological thoughts. Psychological thoughts bring to fore the thoughts were based on input from the outside. The thought was built from the based on input from the outside. We can have a number of examples from such thoughts and from the outside. Example could be information from promotional messages. Examples is information from the promotional messages. So we are stating categorically that promotional strategies provide input from the outside and could determine our behavior. The promotional messages come in form of description of the product features, the quality content of the product or service, which in no small measure lead us to purchase such products. We also look at economy as a discipline, as to establish how it interfaces with consumer behavior. Looking at that, we talk about something like distribution of income, and then doing that in preference to the goods that we so much feel within what they require satisfaction utilities. So to say, our purchases are based on our financial strength. We make certain purchases as guided by the money at hand. And in that context, we apportion our finances to suit those items that we want to purchase. Okay, let us also look at sociology as a discipline and how it interfaces with consumer behavior. Talking about sociology, we are focusing on reference groups, opinion leaders, age grades, family status, and a whole lot of them. We are all of the belief that opinion leaders, the leaders in our society, could be referenced, could be a reference to what we do. The leaders in our society, from time to time, determine what we consume, the actions we take, how we dress, and other behavioral we exhibit in our locality. We also look at our age group. At times, we look at our age members and conform with their consumption pattern, with their eating pattern, with their drinking pattern, with the way they buy and wear clothes. Family status is also not left behind because we try as much as possible to conform with the status of our family in most of the things we do. Then last in that, but not the least, is anthropology. Anthropology deals with that sort of behavior that guide processes like culture, subculture, social class, and so on and so forth. The culture of people could forbid one from consuming a particular product. For instance, we are all aware that some part of in some part of Nigeria, things are not eaten. People don't consume pork meat because to them it's against their culture, religious belief. We also know that some classes of people forbid their members from eating publicly. Because to them, it belittled them that are found eating publicly. Also, there are certain items that are not authorized by culture for them to buy and use. In all cases, we can see that the inputs greatly assist in formulating behavior. And it's very, very relevant in the study of consumer behavior. Now, we want to go ahead to look at reasons for the study of consumer behavior. That is, why do management study consumer behavior? A number of reasons gives rise for the study of consumer behavior in business parlance. For instance, it enables the marketing manager to choose the right market segment. To be able to establish how people behave in terms of the way they look for items, make a selection, purchase and use, to be able to know the set of people, the segment of people we are going to target. For instance, we are all aware that during dry season, during rainy season, something like umbrella become a booming business. But after the rainy season, not much people go for the purchase of umbrella. So the behavioral pattern changes from season to season. During the rainy season, there's high purchase in terms of the item. And when the season is off, people will no more go for it. So it becomes a guide to the marketing manager who operates in that business, because he has understood that at a particular season, the stock is demanded, whereas in another season, it may not be demanded. Consumer behavior also leads to successful implementation of marketing mix elements. They lead to a successful implementation of marketing elements. And this is obvious. If you look at the popular 4 P's of marketing, we talk about something like products. How could consumer behavior help you to design? One can say, how can consumer behavior help you to design the product that will be suitable to the audience, to the consumer, to the customer? We think about those are quality conscious buyers. Quality conscious buyers. If you are in an environment where the buyers are quality conscious, that is, they go for quality products. Believe you me, if you design a product that is of low quality, you may have little or nothing to sell. Then, if you are able to design a quality product that meets their demands, definitely you are going to have a large number of customers. However, if they are also not conscious about the quality, that they can go in between or take inferior product, then we should go ahead to design the products in such a manner that they will be able to patronize it. And in most cases, we attach inferior product to low price and high quality product to high price. In which case, in some quarters, it's assumed that those of low income earners, civil servants, and some artisans go in for low quality products. So if you make a mistake by designing high quality products in such an environment, you may not have any sales to make. You may have little or nothing to make. Then price is also an aspect of marketing mix, which the knowledge of consumer behavior makes use of. In setting price, certain considerations are made, and among them is ability of the consumer to pay for the product. If the consumers are price conscious, then you setting a very high price will actually have a negative consequence on your product. Of course, price conscious consumers make a number of comparison. He quantify the product with the amount he's going to spend. So he might prefer a price that is commensurate to his cost and his desires. So a certain price in that context has to conform with his assessment or his measurement of what price he requires. Price is also used to distinguish products in terms of the classes of people that go in for such a product. those pushers or opinion leaders or the business guru can be attached to high price of goods and services. And as a matter of fact, when we are talking about marketing mix elements, we are rather talking about a mixture of products, price, distribution, and promotion in such a manner that it will suit a particular segment of the consumer's action. So in combining or blending the marketing mix, emphasis is made to ensure that the blend suits what the consumer wants in terms of product quality, design, packaging, labeling, coloring, and also in terms of the asking price, the price which is affordable by the group involved. Then making it available in the right quantity, and then getting the knowledge of existence of the product, which is promotion, to the users. So the bottom line is that the entire blend, which is now a whole, must match the individual consumer needs in that very environment. The knowledge of consumer behavior also enables a company to increase the efficiency of its marketing strategy and tactics. Of course, when a company operates in an environment, in most cases, it's always aware. It's supposed to be aware of their actions and inactions regarding the way they make purchases. And when he has done that, he might be able to come up with a nice strategy to have a competitive edge. He might be able to have a game plan that will work his rivals in the business. Okay. Another one is decision on the major four pieces of marketing. In this context, we are looking at the specific elements of the marketing mix. We are not blending them this time. We are rather looking at each as an individual. And we have the opinion that if you discover that these are the popular products people in a particular environment go in for, that is, they purchase, they select, they use, and dispose of at all times. Believe me or you that it's better you go for this product. Not only going for it, but designing it, producing it to match their desired needs so that you can get satisfaction. You can get so that the buyers will be satisfied. And when they are satisfied, the likelihood is that you are going to make more purchases. I mean, you are going to make more sales, and more sales attract profits relatively. Now we look at price as its own element, as a determinant of certain things, determinant of purchases, determinant of place of purchase, determinant of volume of purchase, and determinant of quality purchases. So, the behavioral aspect of consumers in relation to price, when you're aware of it, can always smile home as a manager, as a marketer, because you have discovered the very price that attracts them most. You have discovered whether they are emotional price consumers, whether they are attracted by skimming price or penetrating price. Of course, there's a common understanding or common approach in relation to price. In most cases, prices for newly established products is that of penetrating price. But it also depends on the consumers or area of operation and consumer judgment. Because penetrating price is relatively addressed as low price. And when you set a low price for a product, an area where there are classes of people with what it takes to boast of wealth, then they might regard your product as being inferior. Because they believe that a high quality product should connote high prices. However, reverse is the case when you now set the product at a high price, especially newly established product, which the consumers may not have used it before. They are not familiar with the real performance of the product. They are setting high price, will also, you are going for skimming price with a high price, will also throw the whole thing up. So, a marketer is aware of the direction the consumers are going in relation to price will certainly strive. We certainly become comfortable with the environment because can they deal with the consumers because they have understood their price, their interest. Then the other element is a place, that is distribution. Of course, among the 4 pieces of marketing, distribution seems to be the ultimate. The reason being that no matter how you produce the product, no matter how nice the product is, if it doesn't go to the end users, then you may have done little or nothing. The need for the product to go to the end users becomes very, very important. Then, connecting or correlating this with behavior, you look at it boils down that you have to establish the consumer buying centers where the consumer will wish to get the product, how frequently they want to get the product, where the product should be made available in all nook and cranny of the society in terms of stores and retail houses. Or whether you should have a selective disposal centers, that is selected distributors or sellers for the product. Whether you should mass distribute intensive distribution, or whether you should go for exclusive distribution, which limits the number of people that sells the product. In which case, it's like the product is not highly demanded by many people. So if you limit the place of purchases, much people will not complain because it's not everybody that wants the product. But whereby it is generally required, especially consumable products like food, toiletries, and a number of other edibles. We are supposed to go into what we call intensive distribution because the product is demanded by thousands and millions of people, and they are not finding the product. We throw them off. We make them not to go for the product. They will rather look for a substitute. So distribution is very key to marketing and consumer behavior in particular. Then that aspect of promotion is also a very important aspect of consumer behavior. Promotion is nothing other than creating knowledge of the existence of a product or service to the end users, to the users, for the purpose of wooing them to go for the product in the belief that they stand a chance to benefit using the product. Of course, there are these assertions that product remain in dark until they are brought to the knowledge of the users. That is why if we go out over there, people see people going into what we call word of mouth promotion or word of mouth advertising. They shout, buy my product, mine is the best, we sell at lower price. The product is too much, it takes care of all categories of people. All these things are jargons and promotional messages which we use to woo people to buy the product. In which case, you have to design your promotional messages to align, to agree with what will entice the consumers. You cannot design a message that is misleading, confusing the buyers, consumers, or giving a different thing from what the product is all about. The promotional message is expected to conform with what the product is aimed for. And it is mainly used to attract buyers. Consumer behavior makes it easier to address some social causes, that is social marketing. Of course, if we discover that somebody is an avid smoker, a number of advertising methods have been used to discourage them. Because they say smokers are bound to die young. There's also this statement that there is no act to discover a HIV victim by his face. We can also design a program to showcase the consequences of certain illicit behavior by certain class of people. Because we have discovered that they have considered a stronghold in that behavior. They have made themselves addicts to certain consumption. And the only way to discourage them is by engaging in such acts that will pull up their mind from such behavior. Consumer behavior provides us in engaging in relationship marketing. Of course, based on people's reactions, which we are now aware of, we will find a way of establish a better relationship with the consumers. And that will lead to our retaining them. That will lead to their being loyal, they are being committed to our product and services. And to us, it is a plus because we realize what gives them joy in our products. We have discovered why they go for our products. And then we emphasize, we design our products alongside that. And that had paid off because we have capitalized on that, and they have become our customers and fans. And so I must say that in all our discussions, you are free at any time to raise questions and contribution so that the whole thing becomes very, very interactive. Actually, I don't believe in the lecturer say it all because it is a kind of interactive lecture that makes it more interesting. Okay, we will go ahead to draw a distinction between individual/householder and industrial organizational buyer behavior. I had earlier mentioned that in as much as individual make purchases, organization also make purchases. However, there are some distinction between the individual purchases and organizational purchases. So on this note, we had explained what individual buyer behavior is, or consumer behavior by about. That of organizational buyer hinges on purchases made by organization either for reproduction or for production or for resale or for consumption. Organization could buy certain items and make use of it. They can also buy for reproduction, like certain raw materials that we buy from, we still buy from time to time. To use or resell. Like Cutler said, that organization buying is the decision-making process by which formal organization is going to be the need for purchase, to purchase a product and services, and identify, evaluate, and choose among alternative brands and suppliers. So you can see that there seems to be some complexity in organizational buying behavior. Because first of all, the organization has to establish the need to make a purchase of product or services. Then evaluate the need for that, evaluate and then choose among areas of brands and suppliers. Because generally or majorly, product has alternatives. We have thousands and millions of brands across board that will suit certain situations. So organization has to evaluate and they have to compare existing brands as well as the suppliers. In candid, evaluation process is not an easy task because you evaluate a product based on quality, you evaluate the product based on stability, that is conformity, you evaluate a product based on availability, ever availability. And then in evaluating suppliers, you talk about suppliers that are conscious in supply. A conscious supplier is a supplier who supplies on time. A supplier that supplies the required items. A supplier that provides the required quality. A supplier that has goodwill. An amiable supplier. Okay. Now, we had earlier said that original buy for business use, that is, they can use the product, they can buy to produce another product, or they can buy to resell the product. However, going by the differentiation, as we had earlier said, in a tabular form, we provided the differences. The differences may not have been very comprehensive, but to some extent, or rather to a reasonable extent, it made meaning. So in the first column, we have consumer buying. The second column, we have organizational buying. And we said that consumer buying is done as it's required. That is, it is just done possibly based on individual or household needs, which could be in units, which could be just a very minimal purchase. Why that of organizational buying is normally done in bulk or in large potential. Most of the purchases made by the organization is always in bulk and not in bits. Then the second difference is that in a consumer buying, product specification takes place. While in consumer buying, product specification does not take place because of the large potential revenue of such products. Then we say there can be a time there can be at a time buying of the products. That is in a consumer buying column. Then that of a consumer buying column, we say that at a time buying can never be done. So in as much as that is what the emphasis says, that adjustment as to when to buy is easily done when it involves individual or household buying. But when it is that of organization, the when and how to buy it is strictly as a organizational policy. We cannot just on our own go and buy the product or decide to buy the product at the wrong time. There must be a decision taken to that effect. Then we say that purchases are made by organizations and rather by consumers to meet their needs. That is, individual or household makes purchases to meet their needs. Whereas in initial buying, we are not satisfying only the consumers, we are also satisfying the establishment. So industrialists who engage in purchases think of the satisfaction they are going to make in that purchases, especially when they are buying for consumption. Then the processes involved in executing purchases is very quick under consumer buying. It might not require any data or presentation. But data organizational buying, it requires more time, proper scientific data, as well as a presentation. Of course, when an organization of a repute want to buy certain items, there must be certain data collected in respect of that product, in respect of the other variables, such as supplier's profile, place of purchase, legality, legal backing of a place. I was referring to I was saying that the purchases might require some presentation. Might require some presentation. And examination of certain scientific data. Then consumer buying products are usually eatable products and usable products. That of industrial buying are mostly raw materials, fabrication parts, and materials, installation, accessories, and equipment. So the categories of industrial products which are normally purchased are raw materials, fabrication parts and materials, installations, accessories, and equipment. So side by side, when you look at omnichannel buyer, you can understand the sophistication of the items that are normally purchased. And these items are always bulky, and care is taken to ensure that the right materials are bought. Reason being that if you buy, for instance, if you purchase a raw material, the likelihood that your product is going to be very faulty is there. That is why emphasis is made on collecting data and presenting it as well, so that it should conform with what we are going to get as the end parts. So, also other aspects like installations, equipment, and other things. We can further provide summary in relation to original buying, and that summary might bring our lectures to an end. We are saying that the purchasing volume of organization is always much more than that of individual buyer. And honestly, we are going to summarize the lecture by highlighting briefly the major areas where students are supposed to capture in organization buying. That is, we are looking at the technicality consideration in making purchasing of organization buyers. We're also looking at professional buyers who engage in buying for the organization. And we are also talking about decision to buy the right product. My dear students, the lecture is ended here. I wish to believe that my next contact will be able to raise your questions across. I wish you people the best and thank you for being here with me. Bye.